Sometimes we just need to go into a meditative space and break some shit, right? That's the crystal house, where we're just banging things up because we want to create a healthy relationship with rage, right? And so it can be used very uniquely for what the client is going through. And what I find is no matter what the technique, it always relates to what they're going through today.
Hello there, Pursuing Freedom friends, and thanks for tuning in today. I am your host, Erin Bradley. We've got a great show in store for you. It's funny because as I'm getting ready to record this interview with Ashley Coffey, our guest today, I realized that she was one of the very few exceptions of people that I said yes to recording an interview with this summer, because I usually try to take the summer mostly off to spend time with my kids and family. And if you've been around for a long time, you know I treat September 1st as New Year's Day. So I've been pushing off all these podcast recordings to the fall. And when I saw Ashley's bio and story, I was like, oh no, we can't wait for this one. So I think you guys are in for a treat today. I feel like Ashley and I speak the same language. She also came up in the real estate space, and she's now a transformational leadership coach and community builder with over a decade of experience empowering mostly women through mindset, movement, and mentorship. She's the founder of Ashley Coffey Coaching, and she's coached hundreds of women to reclaim their confidence, clarify their soul vision, and lead with unapologetic authenticity. And what we're going to unpack today is her 5-pillar framework, which we'll let Ashley tell us more about it, but it covers leadership identity, boundary mastery, emotional integration, community and belonging, authentic expression. So if you guys have been listening to the podcast for a while, you can probably already tell why I was a hell yes for having Ashley on the show. And if it's your first time here, welcome aboard. What we're passionate here at Pursuing Freedom is not settling. We're here for all. We want to have thriving businesses without the burnout, and we believe that it's possible to simplify success, thrive financially, and have time to live the life you've always dreamed of, funded and fueled by the business that you designed to fit your lifestyle. So I feel like Ashley's a perfect contribution to this content here. So with no further ado, Ashley, thank you for being here today.
Oh, yes. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Erin. I've been so excited to join your podcast. It's definitely a blessing for sure. So thank you for having me.
Yeah,
a little bit about me, my background.
Oh, sorry. No. All right. We like to start from the beginning. So take us back. Like, how did you get started? How did you get to where you are today? So passionate about bringing this emotional integration coaching to the world and to the marketplace, and specifically women in leadership.
Oh my goodness, yes. I actually studied sociology, psychology in college. So the emphasis, the passion has always been there, dabbling in different frameworks. I worked in social work for a little while. I have a therapeutic background. And what made me go into coaching was less red tape. And I love not dealing with the tape because I'm very blunt and very forward, and I like to call my clients out. And so I think that's what makes my coaching unique, but it definitely started the journey of Ashley Coffey Coaching into leading in a very different direction than going down LPC, having counseling or a therapeutic license. Still love all that. Super passionate about those things. And that's where integration, emotional integration comes from. So in my line of work in the past, I would do a lot of life coaching, a lot of emotional coaching, even business coaching. And the piece that was missing inside of going into corporations, dealing with teams, doing one-on-ones was the emotional threshold of what was holding back. We deal with limiting beliefs. We deal with doubt. Those things are common. Even past trauma coming up, very common. Emotional integration is where we find these things that hold us back, where they live in our body, where it could be an emotional space, that could be a trauma space, that could literally just be, I'm holding on to something that doesn't belong to me. I was once told this once upon a time and it's stuck with me. But emotional integration then comes in and allows us to clear that space and replace it with something else very intentionally, very powerfully. That looks like actual emotional integration sessions. And that also looks like coaching day to day. doing one-on-ones, learning what empowers us, where we need to set boundaries in our life, how we're showing up in community, our impact in community, not just our impact as a leader. Who are we authentically all around? Getting feedback from community is a big part of that. And really then at the end of it, creating your authentic expression, the identity expression that you want to move forward with. So if there are things that you're like, I don't want to move forward with being a codependent, awesome. We're going to work on it and replace it to move forward in a whole other space. And that individual work is what made me go private, made me go into a completely separate coaching business than going in and out of corporate settings, because I really love diving deep.
So let's back up a little bit. Before you got into being in a position to support others through this type of integration, what did you have to go through yourself in your own healing journey? And what did you learn from the people that mentored you through that? Or what were the sources that you leaned into to help yourself get into alignment in order to understand the power of this emotional integration as it relates to, like, what I refer to as the intersection of business and spirituality?
Oh, yeah. That's a great way to describe it. Yes, I agree with you for sure. Where do I even start? I am a survival of child abuse and severe neglect. And so growing up in a space with 7 other siblings where full self-expression, boundaries did not exist, codependency, eggshells existed, leaving that dynamic literally opened a door of who the hell am I? What do I want in my life? And I might not even know what I want, but what I don't want was that. And when I went to college, that was my outlet. I had a dance scholarship and got to go actually do school, was my saving grace. I tell people college saved my life, because when I walked into a sociology class for the first time and I started hearing definitions and vocabulary, I was like, those things happened to me. And I had no language until then. And then I remember thinking, those things aren't right, and I should do therapy. And so immediately got myself 18 years old into therapy, because I said, I don't know who I want to be or what I want in my life, but I know what I don't want. And I know I have to unlearn those things. So I feel very lucky in the sense of not needing to repeat and project and pattern wise a lot of generational trauma and continue that. I had my son at 21. And so really got it together as a young mom and wanted to do better by him. So again, continuing therapy. I definitely had a spiritual connection with Mile High in Denver. If anyone's ever heard of that, it's a beautiful spiritual church, and really diving into how at a soul level, I was never broken. And on a soul level, I was never beaten. And on a soul level, I am perfect and divine. And that transformed my life. And I wanted to give that to other people, no matter what the circumstance or situation. And so no matter where I was working or consulting or being a social worker, I brought that. And I wanted to dive deeper in that. And that's really, at the end of the day, what created Ashley Coffey Coaching.
I love this so much. I agree completely. And I love how you said unlearning. I use the word unbecoming. So what did that look like in terms of the armor that you have to develop to feel, to just to survive, right? You said the word survivor. It's like there is a journey of building up that external shell that helps us be, so we think, safe in the world, right? And then there's a process of dismantling that so we can get access to that soul within, which has been kind of buried under outdated fears and stories. And I have to do this to survive, and I need to do this. And what did the unlearning look like? Because there's so many people listening that I think can conceptually understand what we're talking about. And some may have already begun the work, and some may have no idea what we're talking about here.
Oh, yes. Inside identifying what is not mine or what wants to be unlearned is when you feel at conflict with yourself. when I have clients that are talking about like, I do this thing and just like, why do I do this thing? That is resistance. And our soulness, right? Our human design is coming up with all these factors from culture, all these factors from earth around burnout, imposter syndrome, human giver syndrome, all these things we've taught, especially as women, right? Inside a very sexist culture of who you have to be. And so then my identity on this soul level is like, but that's not you. And I feel so much resistance with myself. And that is usually the first step of willingness or awareness that I see people step into of like, I don't want to, or this doesn't work for me, but I'm doing it anyways. I keep like the hamster wheel. I keep going around and around. It's like, probably because it's not for you. Right? Let's dive into what else it looks like. Because I feel like most of the time, people just don't know a direction, or they have a hard time identifying what are the other possibilities. What else could I do? What else could I step into? What other identities could I take on? And that feels so big and so scary. And my job is to like make it so simple and so small, and to give those resources and those outlets so that people can move forward empowered and release those things that no longer serve them. Especially talking about survival mode. Like, our nervous system is not the problem. So when your nervous system is overloaded and you need to sleep, or you're actually having physical burnout and you're getting sick, like those are your body telling you red flags about around what you're doing. Nervous system is your friend. Nervous system is your partner. We have to treat nervous system not like the enemy, but as the friend, and start listening to what no longer works for you.
Yeah, so good. So let's talk through this with someone who's listening, and they're at that place where I always refer to it as building a ship, this vessel that is supposedly my business and my life. And in theory, I wanted to be the driver of this business and life. But instead of being at the bow of the ship, I'm in the ocean treading water and gulping for air as I'm trying to patch holes in the bottom of the ship that I'm trying to hold up. And I'm like exhausted, and it's not even the ship. I don't even think this ship is mine. I just built it because that's what I thought I was supposed to do. The thought of receiving the support, which is often that recognizing when the nervous system is dysregulated, willingness to be an observer, willingness to slow down, get curious, and then potentially pivot to a reality that is your true soul's purpose, which may be radically different, but for sure way more expansive than what you're surviving. But the fear of abandoning the post, for fear that everything we've built is going to go sinking to the bottom, it's real and it's palpable. So what is it like? What does it look like when you meet someone and you know the moment you meet them that you can help them, and they are like, girl, you are nuts. I can't slow down. I can't even catch my breath.
This is so real. This is so many people's lives. Hell, it's even my life sometimes. I got to slow down too. We all go through this probably multiple times in our lives. Wow. So what do I say? What do I do? I always want to validate this experience. This is so real. So many people go through this, and unlearning it, uncreating that is going to be scary. I am so straight up about how it's going to be uncomfortable, or you might learn different language to communicate with, or we're going to actually set a boundary and people won't like that. And you might lose a couple friends, or you have some conflict in your marriage because you are trying to become a different person. Those that are going to come with you are down for the ride. Those that aren't willing, we don't want them. We are so forward around the effort this is going to take. But what I really want to say here is that we have to unlearn that self-doubt or fear means something's wrong with us, because it doesn't. Nothing is wrong with us. Self-doubt is not an identity. So we don't have to take it with us on the journey. It can just exist and be an emotion. And it often is actually a protective strategy for nervous system, especially if we're in survival mode, because any more added things to the mental load will just throw me over. Okay, cool. Let's get rid of self-doubt and we can add one more thing. We're trying boundaries today, right? But confidence does not show up with eliminating doubt. They are not opposites. Confidence comes from practice, first of all. So really, at the end of the day, coaching changing your life, getting on the ship just requires bravery. We just get to be brave. And bravery only happens when we're scared, when there's fear, when there's something to lose. And that's why it makes us brave. And that will lead to confidence. And so it's really just about starting and seeing how far you get, because we already know what we're doing isn't working, and possibly pushing through. I'll use that word lightly. Transforming through will get us to freedom, peace of mind that can exist. That's on the other side. So let's get a little muddy and uncomfortable so we can get there.
I love it. So you mentioned the word authentic and authenticity a few times, and it's become such a buzzword that sometimes I feel like it's diluted its value. So what does it mean to help someone return to authenticity after they've self-abandoned for so long in the performance of the role they thought they were supposed to play to either be successful, fit in, get picked, all the things?
Oh, wow. That's so good. It's definitely a buzzword. I agree with you there. I like to use, how can you show up fully self-expressed, as my question. Showing up fully self-expressed in different moments, different situations can mean different things, but it does mean true to self. Full self-expression means I'm choosing me in every moment. That can still look like being of service to someone else, but usually those services come with boundaries now and not codependency, right? But showing up and coming back to authentic self is really redefining sense of self. My sense of self gets taken everywhere. And that's bigger than just the titles of mother, coach, and business owner. Sense of self is what makes me uniquely me. All of the things, who I am, what I look like, what I don't like, my boundaries, my deal breakers, my sexuality, but also my human design, my love language, how I like to rest. Are you a night owl? Are you a morning bird? Your sense of self is authenticity. And when we feel confident and safe to express those things, those environments, please welcome into your life. Do more of that. In spaces that are crushing you or doubting your sense of self, manipulative environments, like maybe crappy bosses, those are not environments where sense of self feels safe, and authenticity can come out to play. So being fully self-expressed, how often do we have that in our lives, and where can we create more of it, is usually the questions I lead with.
I love that. So then lead us into, what is the emotional integration coaching? I know there's pillars to this, but talk us through the evolution of this and what it looks like in practical application.
Well, this is where I'm going to do a huge shout out to my mentor, Cynthia James, who came up with these techniques. And she has freedom coaches that she trains in these techniques once a year. And new coaches get to come out with certifications. I've done emotional integration for several years and got certified about 2 or 3 years ago. But every coach then gets to take it and change it and uniquely make it theirs inside of their own businesses. And so I specifically use emotional integration with connecting clients to intuition and healing past trauma. So that can look like a meditative situation. It can also look like a memory situation or a comparison situation. And I take that with a client. Let's say we're doing a meditative state. Walking through a guided meditation, I'm going to be paying attention to what emotions are coming up, their body's reaction, what word choice is coming up, if somebody else pops into the space or a memory is now coming in. Sometimes we just need to go into a meditative space and break some shit, right? That's the crystal house, where we're just banging things up because we want to create a healthy relationship with rage, right? And so it can be used very uniquely for what the client is going through. And what I find is, no matter what the technique, it always relates to what they're going through today. Oh, I learned this thing in the memory technique. I can see now where I have learned codependency as a way of getting what I need or feeling fulfilled in these ways. And that's what's going on in this situation right now. And we can walk through then, who do you want to be? How do we want to clear the space? Let's take that invisible backpack off. No longer belongs to us. Drop those burdens. And the most important piece is clearing the old energy from the body, getting rid of the limiting belief even, and replacing it with something else. And replacing it can look like intentions. Replacing it can look like ownership. Replacing it can look like affirmations. But it's always your empowered self, sense of self coming in and creating that space, not what was once taught to us.
Awesome. And so how do you work with people? How can people get in community with you? And in what way, shape, or form do you support the people that you help transform? They transform themselves. You just facilitate them.
Yes, they do all the work. I do in-person sessions here in Colorado Springs. I want to say about a quarter of my clients now are in person. A lot of my clients are out of state even, and we do remote. And so these sessions can be online coaching, can be Zoom calls. It looks a lot like just getting into a space where you can be calm, collect, and reflective with some guided help. Emotional integration sessions are always going to be in person or on Zoom so that I can see bodies and responses. But sometimes coaching is a phone call. It's a 30-minute phone call of I'm activated, I'm triggered, I'm pissed, and I keep coming back to this space. I'm like, okay, let me tell you what I hear. Let's talk about patterns. Why do we keep ending up here? And I think real-time coaching is so impactful to healing because we're dealing with it right when it comes up instead of dissociating and dismissing to deal with it later.
Awesome. So how can people find you, follow you? Like, where are you online? All the things.
Yes. So I have a beautiful website. It's literally ashleycoffeycoaching.com. You can email me at ashleycoffeycoaching.com. So it's really easy to get in contact with me. I would say always go through the website though, because you get a free consultation with me and you can put in your information and we can just chit chat and listen to goals, also find and like reflect back some of the things I'm hearing. A lot of that just gets to be conversation around what people are even willing to take on, because the last thing we want is like therapeutic services or coaching services to add to burdens and mental loads. And so it really gets to be, this is what I'm hearing. This is the process that I can put together for you. If one time a month works, if 2 times a month work, like it's really unique than the plan. We get to put a plan together. But email works. Otherwise, I would say email is best. I'm about to give you the phone number, but I honestly think my admin team is more on it than I am with our phone. So email is then your next option.
Awesome. And are you online? Are you on Instagram or LinkedIn?
I am. Yes, I have all the socials. It is also Ashley Coffey Coaching. We post a lot of coffee content because of my last name. So Mindful Mondays with Coffee is going to be a picture of me drinking coffee and a little blurb to start your week. It's going to be either, they're called hard truth times or reflection times. That's going to give you a prompt to take with you throughout the week or affirmations to take with you throughout the week. It's usually a fun little blurb on a Monday. And then just throughout all the social medias, there we post on workshops, we post discounts. July is running emotional integrations for half off. So that's a huge deal in July. But it's all there. You can see it, follow, watch it. There's videos, all the things.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. It's been awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
And to all my friends out there, as always, I love and appreciate you. If you found value from this episode, make sure to shoot Ashley a DM, send me a DM on Instagram at Pursuing Freedom Official, share this with a friend. And if you haven't yet left a 5-star review, someone was asking, how do I do this? If you're on your phone and you have an iPhone, you can go to the podcast and find the show, and then scroll down a little bit and you're going to see where it says 5 stars. And there's a little pencil that says leave a review. I'm giving you the step-by-step because having those reviews really does help us continue to attract amazing guests like Ashley and help this content get found so more of us can build a life you don't need a vacation from. I love you so much. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in to Pursuing Freedom. If this conversation sparks something with you, be sure you're subscribed so you can keep building momentum towards your life of freedom. And don't keep this to yourself. If you know someone who's on the same journey, be sure to share it with them. And I'll see you next time.